we were talking about the Juneteenth legacy. So, the Juneteenth legacy is the number one Black Wealth Strategy Conference featuring Dr. Cheryl Wood, Boyce Watkins, uh, Sanithia Bland, and others. Dexter B. Jenkins will be there virtually as well. And there's just a ton more. It's about 30 speakers over the 3 days in Chicago Live. And the host is a visionary, bam, JJ. JJ Conway, who is trying to make her way in. She's having some technical difficulties. But the thing of it is, if she doesn't come in, she's going to be interviewed Saturday on Black Speakers Network on BSN at noon Eastern Standard Time. So you can actually hear the interview and we'll go through the whole issue. But what I want to just tell you in the interim, the cover girl is JJ Conway. You can see her there. She is the first Black Air Force physicist, and she's also retired U.S. Lieutenant Colonel, and she's a women wealth mentor and financial speaker. So, what does all that mean? Let me give you a little bit of the formal bio about JJ, okay? And I also want to thank you for joining in. I've just started talking without actually introducing myself. My name is Pam Perry, and I'm the publisher of Speakers Magazine, speakersmagazine.com. And so this month we're debuting the June issue, which is out. You can go there and actually get the issue, read it, download it, and you'll see all the beautiful articles and all the fabulous speakers that are in here. But let me give you a formal bio about JJ. JJ is a financial planner who empowers individuals to dump debt and build lasting wealth through financial and business education and coaching. Financial and business education coaching. And something I just want to say, Speakers Magazine unapologetically is really shining a spot on Black speakers, African American speakers, and we have had a theme going on this year, and it's like a year. Juneteenth is obviously that holiday that we celebrate now. It's a national holiday a few years ago, but really it's a freedom day that Texas heard about last. And really, when you look at the amount of things that Black people have accomplished, JJ included in that, again, U.S. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, retired physicist, right? She's a decorated Air Force veteran, and just a lot of things that have done, and thinking that we have come here to this land as slaves and where we are today. But the theme this year is like, okay, we are free. So what's the next phase? So we've had a Black president, political landscape. I feel like we pretty much conquered that. The financial landscape, that is where JJ lives, and especially with women and African American women, because January we had Monique Carradine on the cover of Speakers Magazine. She talks about sisternomics. We had a issue with Tara Caressa, who really talks about wealth building as well. We've had a lot of issues that talk about wealth building and money and mindset. And it was no coincidence that these covers are coming together like this. This one, JJ knows the way. She helps you win with money. And I'm going to see her come to the screen. There she is. I think I see her. I see her. There she is. Oh, great. All right. It could be the Wi-Fi, but we're gonna work it out. She has her cover in the background. Yay! So we're gonna just keep it moving, JJ, because it is. There you go. You're gonna unmute a little bit. Yeah, let me unmute you here. There you go. Yes, I hear you, and I see the cover in the background.
Yes, 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 yes. Fabulous job. You put together such a world-class publication. I'm super excited to be a part of this journey with you.
Oh my God. I'm so glad. I did the timer. I said, okay, we're gonna give it a minute. We're gonna put in a commercial. I'm gonna give it another minute. I said, JJ is going to come on. I said, this is the thing, because I want everyone to really understand your passion, your mission, about why you are helping people with the financial part. And you've kind of done a lot of things, and your background has to be the most interesting background. So I want you to tell people how you ended up in the space where you are now, about really teaching and coaching and really helping people with their finances.
Absolutely. And I just think it's so important for us to realize that we really have to make our own way, and we really have to stick together and work together as sisters, as brothers, to work together to build this wealth. And it's a lesson that came hard to me because I thought I did everything right. I worked hard in high school, got a scholarship to a good Air Force Academy degree, Ivy League degree, and at some point, stuff hits the fan for all of us. And what happened with me is I came home from a military trip. My house was sold. My ex found somebody else. He had a new partner, and that life did not include me. And so I had to, when the dust, I discovered that being military, and this is something that happens to a lot of military people, although I don't hear these numbers often. But when the dust settled, I found out that I was left with a child, single military mom, $845,000 of divorce debt to figure out how to deal with. And so, because it was such a huge number, I knew the traditional work hard, keep your nose clean, that was not going to get me where I wanted to be, which was to retire from the military debt free.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's
Mm-hmm.
why I had to learn how money worked and how do these other people who make massive amounts of money quickly, how can they do it? And more importantly for me, how can I do it ethically?
Right, right. Yeah, that's the thing. You want to do it ethically. And so,
Mm-hmm.
having, and I always tell people, I said, sometimes the things that we go through are so traumatizing and traumatic, but there really are those biggest lessons that really are the pivot to really into your true purpose. Because now you're on this, the 6th year of doing the Juneteenth legacy, really talking about wealth building, having Dr. Boyce Watkins there talking about money and legacy, primarily to, for people who are at the crossroads where you were, to say, hey, I made it out and you can too. And so it's no coincidence, that all these things come together. One of the things where I like where you said JJ, um, knows the way and she helps you win with money, because money is energy. And so you had to really figure out the mindset. The month of May was another magazine that we had for speakers that talked about money manifestation and mindset. And then you come along about money as well. Again, Sisternomics. So it's one of those things. Why is it that, and let me just put this on the table, JJ, that
All right, now let's do it.
Black people are, if we have a totem pole, why are we always at the bottom in terms of the financial part? I know that we didn't start evenly coming to America, right? Because we didn't come here, with jobs and all that kind of stuff. We basically worked for free for hundreds of years. So, but now things should catch up. So what is holding us back now? We don't, Juneteenth is, liberation. Everybody's liberated. So what's holding us back?
I think to really uncover what's holding us back, and there's a lot of different people out there who look at consumerism and spending and cultural mindset, but we really have to go back to the very earliest promises of this nation. So in the Revolutionary War, the colonists, the Americans, they promised slaves, if you would come fight for us, we would set you free. And Great Britain also promised slaves, hey, come fight for us and we will set you free. Well, when the Revolutionary War ended and the United States became a country, the American slaves went back to slavery, and the British slaves went to places like Canada or established their own country, and other places they were actually on their promise. And so this nation had a legacy breaking its promises to people of color. And even when the
Mhm.
promises have been kept, it's things like ending of ending of integration in schools. Okay, we're going to let you come to the schools. We're going to let you come into our restaurants. But guess what we're going to do? We're going to institute Jim Crow policies unofficially to
Mhm.
keep you from doing that. Oh, we're going to let you vote. We're going to let you have the right to vote. But we're going to make it so hard for you to get the education you need to be able to execute those rights. And so we've seen
Mhm.
some of that in the popular culture, but the bottom line for a lot of us is that we trust too much the government. Instead of working together, we have fallen into these these traps that the government has laid for us for centuries of, here, we'll take care of you. Just one more thing, just one more thing, just one more thing. It is time out for that. It is time for us to take matters into our own hands, because
I
that's what
love
other
that.
cultures have come to this country and done. And they have
Yeah.
been able to build wealth, and not just wealth, but respect.
Yes.
Nobody is going to keep respecting us if they keep moving the line and we keep falling for it, or if we keep getting money and keep spending it, making them richer instead of making us richer. It's a loss of respect, and it starts at home.
I like that. That is so true. When you make the comparison of other cultures, other nationalities that come here, whether it is they come from the Middle East, they band together, they, come here with nothing. And then 10 years later, they have taken over an entire neighborhood, running gas stations, grocery stores, all these different types of things. Asian cultures as well, Jewish cultures, obviously, they've always done that. But it's something that is in the African American culture where we have to learn how to come together, like you said, and not depend on the government, not listen to the promises made by society saying, "Oh, we're going to take care of you," but we have to learn how to do it ourselves, which is why you probably selected the speakers that you have speaking at your conference. So tell us about some of the speakers and some of the things that they'll be speaking to that really talks about how to solve the problem, not just saying, "Oh, we have the problem," but how to solve the problem is what your conference is really digging up and really serving.
And it's a very special group of people that can talk to how to solve the problem. And I'll give an example from my own personal life. When I first retired from the Air Force, I wanted to publish my book, Blacks Can't Do Physics, which was based on being told as an Air Force Academy cadet that I couldn't declare physics because at that time the prevailing thought was that blacks couldn't do that kind of complicated work. And so I
Wow.
was like, well, your rules say all you need is this GPA and this and that. And so I declared physics anyway. And then I graduated as president of the physics club and the #1 space physics graduate for the Air Force Academy that year. So black physics, I did physics for 23 years. The thing is, though, when I retired and wanted to write about this, I turned first to the National Society of Black Physicists and said, hey, y'all have the same stories I have. You walk in the meeting you walk in a room to chair the new meeting, and people put trash in your hands or tell you where to drive the slides because it's inconceivable to them that you're the new chair of this highly technical committee. And no one wanted to jump in because most of the people associated with the organization, such as the black physicists and other places of color, they get their handouts and their paychecks from the
Mm.
government. So no one was going to speak out against the hand that feeds them. Am I going to be mad at
Yes.
that? No, I'm going to be realistic. So for this conference, I had to have people who have created their own pathways to success, people who have already broken free
Mhm.
of the corporate plantation and have created enough of a tribe that they can openly speak about these issues and openly speak about the solutions
Yes.
rather than just being in silence. So we got Dr. Boyce Watkins, America's foremost voice on Black wealth right now. You've got Dr. Cheryl Wood. She is the #1 motivational speaker, helping women find their voice and use it for impact and profit. We've got Sanithia S. Bland from CBS's showing the world it is possible to rebuild your life after lock. And not only is she showing the world that she did it, she's creating pathways for others, which is a very
Mhm.
personal thing to me. And I don't know if I shared this with you before, but my father was a felon. And it was something that I watched him try to rebuild his life. And it was so difficult for him to build a nice life for himself. And he was able to rebuild a legacy. But for me, I feel like if someone has served their punishment to society, they have already done their time, they have rehabilitated their heart and their mind, let them have a chance to rehabilitate their
Yeah.
life. But so many of us, you can watch documentaries like 13th and some of these other documentaries that show so many of us have had the deck stacked against us with false charges and false imprisonments. There's got to be a
Mhm.
path to move forward. And so that's why I assembled this crowd. We've got experts talking about real estate. How can you start with nothing and build a $10 million real estate portfolio? We've got experts coming in to talk about veterans and how so many benefits have been denied from veterans simply because of their race. And it's been known for ages, but the data
Mhm.
is finally being published that we can, somebody, it bothers me that we still have to wait for certain people to validate our experience, but they finally validated that, hey, these veterans are suffering because of their color. And what can we do about it? We've got people coming in to talk about how to invest in crypto, how to invest in AI, how to
Yes.
make use of these kind of things, because these are the strategies that help us circumvent the system that is stacked against us. Even today, even with the black president, I'm so sick and tired of hearing, you got a black president, what more do you want? You know what? I want to be able to send my kid to school and not be worried about him.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, it's
I
like you're
want my
having these
child, if he
convers
misses the bus, to be able to go walk. Let's go ahead. Oh, I was
yeah,
gonna
I'd
get
like
down. You know, y'all see that child who they shot at when he missed his bus and went and asked the neighbor for help? The neighbor shot at him. And I was like, that kid looks like my son, and that neighborhood looks like my neighborhood. I want to have a world where I don't have those worries. Other people don't have those
mhm.
worries, but the only way we're going to get that world is if we create it.
Yeah, our own ecosystem. It really is. It's about creating an ecosystem. It's a tribe. It's very similar to why the Black press became a thing, why Speakers Magazine is a thing. Um, Black newspapers tell our stories. Black magazines like Ebony and Jet told our stories. Essence, you know, Black Enterprise, they tell our stories, and it's because even some of the award shows, you have the BET Awards and that sort of thing, you NAACP Image Awards, you wonder, like, if, like, why are we having our own ecosystems? Why are we having our own press and media? Black radio was really, really strong. I mean, that was the whole thing. And it's not that we want to segregate ourselves from other people because we're racist. It's that we want our voices heard and validated. So if you want to be, I think going on this weekend, JJ, is a HBCU, which is another reason we had to have HBCUs, um, Black Football Hall of Fame for the football players that are Black that went to HBCUs because the general population would not acknowledge them. Same thing with magazines. The reason why Speakers Magazine was really created was because the general market speakers type magazines would not feature us on covers. And I know we're good speakers. It's like, well, doggone it, we're gonna have to do it ourselves. And so when you see that enough and you get fed up about complaining, you do what JJ does, right? You then go and teach it, share it, have your conference about it, make it a movement. And so you're going to have it 3 days. The date is June 15th, 16th, and 17th in Chicago, but that Wednesday, I'm sorry, that Thursday is actually the conference day where it's live. So kind of walk us through a little bit of the agenda a little bit.
Absolutely, absolutely. So because this is our first one post pandemic, we intentionally kept it a smaller, intimate crowd in person, and we had so many speakers wanting to be a part of this movement that we had to expand it into a 3-day virtual summit. So we do have Thursday all day long. You're going to hear from 25 different speakers on Black wealth, and we're going to have a VIP dinner with Dr. Boyce Watkins, and then we are going to go into Friday morning is actually a Black veterans breakfast. It's free of charge for any ticket holders who have veteran status, either active duty or previously served. And then the remainder of the event is online, but it's going to be broadcast. And if you're live in the room, you'll get the opportunity to access the
Stream.
recordings, because we're
Mhm.
making sure that you can access the stream, and everybody in the room is actually getting a disc with all 70 recordings. So it's going to be phenomenal in the room, but it's also going to be phenomenal virtual on the Zoom. And if you're only able to catch the broadcast, well, we want you in, because every little bit helps. Every little
Mhm.
bit helps. You know, when I was $845,000 in debt, I couldn't have paid $500 to go to a conference. I couldn't have paid
Right.
$100 to go to a conference. I was going to have to get the library book, and I wasn't even likely to take it home because I didn't want to risk losing it and have to pay for it. I was going to read it in the library. That's how broke I was, you know. But so I always create a pathway. But you take that little bit and you multiply it, and you know what? 13 years later, I'm a fully retired stay-at-home mom living my best life. And you can do whatever you want to do. And honestly, it would have only took me about 7 years, but for a while, I refused to pay that man's bills. I was like, they have my name on it, but they his. So I got a
Right,
little bit
right.
in my bills there.
That's the
Made it
thing.
take a
Oh
little
my
longer,
God.
but people
But
think,
that's why
hey, I
you want
can't
to
do
help
this.
women too, because
Yeah.
helping women that divorce, I heard a stat that majority, I think it's like 95% when the women when they're married and get divorced, 95% of the women um live in poverty for a while. It's because it's the breakup one of a household. But somehow or another, if the women get the short end of the stick, whether the bills were in his name and they expecting you to pay. I mean, it's just a mess. And so you help people unravel that mess, give them hope, let them know that it can be done. Let them know the reason why. The main thing for you is not just about really accumulating the money, but you knew the reason why you wanted the money. So, kind of give us a little bit about the why, about why you call it Juneteenth legacy. What does that mean to you personally, I guess you would say? And then, really, when you're looking out just for your vision for your community.
For the reason for Juneteenth legacy stems a little bit back to my military days, because when I was a young captain, young major in the Air Force, I didn't realize that race was still as much of an issue as it is. And I'm finding among young people today that they also, in their corporate starts, don't realize what a big issue that race is. It wasn't until I became lieutenant colonel, and thus a threat to others who were aspiring to higher military positions, that's when the claws began to come out, and my eyes began to come open. And as I talked to so many other military people, talked to people in academia, talked to people in industry, it sounds like we all had very similar problems and similar situations. And when I started doing my research, it's not just from the Revolutionary War, also the Civil War, also going back to Vietnam, going back to, the New Deal, all these different policies that the United States has put in place supposedly to help. Each one of them has helped in some areas, but set us back in others. And so for me, I don't ever want to forget the legacy of Juneteenth. Yes, people were free, but it was 2.5 years before they found out they were free in the state of Texas. And so for me, that's real today, because a lot of us today have more power and more opportunity than we realize because of the establishment keeping it from us. And so that's the legacy of Juneteenth that we're working to overcome. And that's why we've named it Juneteenth
I
Legacy.
love it. I love it. We've got Dr. Jovan Jackson. He says, this is awesome. I wish I could have participated in this, but he still can. That's the thing. You still can via going to, yes, you still can because it's going to be on Zoom. And he says, I'm a veteran. Can you repeat the part about the free admission for veterans? Oh, I'm
So
sorry.
for those who
She.
buy a ticket, we're having a free breakfast. Oh, well, hey, that is a whole other conference. Military and sisters, the struggle is real. There's a reason I go a military call sign. It served me well. But yes, for those who have tickets, either virtual or in the room, you will have access to the Black Veterans Breakfast. So now, of course, if you're in person, that's a free breakfast. If you're not in person, that's attending the Zoom. You can go out to JuneteenthLegacy.com and get your ticket. There's still tickets out there.
Yes, yes. So there you go. There you go, sweetie. So you can do that. Listen, JJ really wants to help people like learn and lead the way. I mean, she wants people to win with money. So, and I see you have that same mission as vision as well. Good News Financial and Investment Advisors and a veteran. So you guys definitely, you two need to connect for sure. She does this every year. What year is this? This is the 6th year,
Fifth year.
fifth
But
year.
we already planning our 6th year in Atlanta. We're already planning our 7th year is either going to be Dallas or New Orleans, and our 8th year is going to be in Tulsa with the 105th anniversary of the Black Wall Street.
Oh my God, I love that. That will be really, really good. So Dr. Jovan, you hear that? So the 5th year, 6th year, 7th, she's a planner. So she's a planner. So she knows how to do that. So make sure that you connect with her Juneteenth legacy as well. So you can do that. Yeah, exactly. She said, wow. She said, wow. I said, yes, that's like one of the things. So there are no accidents that you actually stumbled upon our live. Thank you for joining us. Speakers Magazine show. We have the magazine. She's on the cover. You see her blow up in the back. And then on Saturday, we'll also be going through the entire magazine with Brian Olds. He's the official we're the official magazine for Black Speakers Network. So we'll be doing that as well, noon, with the Black Speakers Network as well. So you want to make sure that you're in the room. I always say those that show up, go up. If you can't show up in the actual room, you can actually do it virtually, JuneteenthLegacy.com. So that's the cool part about it. And you get the recordings. So you get the recordings. I love all the speakers that she has, some of the virtual speakers I know. It's just a good thing to talk about money and to talk about it in an honest environment and from the standpoint of like, okay, it's time out waiting for someone to rescue you, as George Fraser always says, no one's going to come rescue us. We've got to know how to pull ourselves up and actually do it together. Do it, pull ourselves from the bootstraps and then pull other people up as well. And that's kind of what this is all about, pulling other people up as well. So make sure, Dr. Jovan Jackson, that you are there. Okay. All right. Cool, cool, cool. All right. All right. So is there anything else before we kind of wrap up here? I would just want to jump on really, really quick, let people know that they still can do it. The Juneteenth Legacy Event.com is June 15th, 16th, and 17th. Chicago, Thursday, if you're in person, small intimate, and then also Friday and Saturday for the virtual. So you can take part of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one thing I want to say is, there's a quote by Maya Angelou that says, when you know better, you do better. And for a lot of us, we didn't
Love
know.
that.
We just didn't know. We didn't
Okay.
we had. And now we get an opportunity to learn better. And now we get an opportunity to learn that some of the things that have been put in place, some of the education that we received, specifically designed to keep us at a certain, be higher level. We were designed to walk in abundance. And so this is what you get every ounce of that birth is owed to you.
Cool, cool. I love it. I love it. Well, yes, make sure that you do that. And thank you so much. I will talk with you on Saturday. You should have your magazines in your hands by then. I just love the way it all pulls together because not only is this magazine, but there's also Dexter, who's one of your virtual speakers. He's talking about Wealth Creation Summit as well. So that's the theme for this year, especially for African Americans. We're talking about wealth and money and mindset and manifestation, all the things, right? So his is in there. And then you also have in this issue, Dr. Rhonda Glover Reese. She's a person that I'm going to be talking to later today. And then you have Dr. Kawana. She talks about government contracting and how to make money from getting government contracts. And she gives us a whole story about that, about how she struggled for so long and then eventually um, went from like struggling making like $30,000 a year to like millions by learning how to get government contracts. Now she's cracked the code, kind of like you, cracking the code, now showing other people the way. So the theme of the people in the magazine, they all have that same kind of feel about really just creating Juneteenth legacy. So thank you for bringing this together, bringing everybody together, and I will talk with you on Saturday.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for how you serve. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Cool. Cool. All righty. So that was JJ Conway. She's coming from Texas, where she is, but she'll be going to Chicago next week. So you want to make sure that you go to Juneteenth Legacy. Make sure that you are there. Thank you so much, Dr. Javon. You too, definitely make sure that you connect. She's on all the things. So you want to, she's on LinkedIn, she's got a YouTube channel, all those kind of things. So make sure that you connect with her. So I'm Pam Perry and I am out. And I will thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you follow us and go to Speakers Magazine, read the entire issue, download it for free, share it, subscribe, all the things. All right. So with that, I'm out. Talk to you later. Bye bye.